So we're doing a pilot project to look at sodium bicarbonate ingestion individualization and to see how people's blood bicarbonate profiles might change with an individualized protocol.
I'm showing her up on that too.
So we're having each individual eat the way they wanted to eat, again because athletes eat the way they want to eat. So each of our subjects has chosen a specific way of eat that they like to eat for 24 hours, and then they're replicating that exact food intake for the 24 hours before each of the 3 blood draws. They're standardizing their activity. So again, if you went out, I think Wendy went out and ran 13 miles the day before she did her first test. So now she has to replicate that 13-mile run on the day before each of her blood draws. And then the person comes into the lab, they sit for 10 minutes, we do a baseline blood draw, they take their sodium bicarb, and that's based on their weight, so it's 0.3 of a gram per kg of body weight. They take that over 30 minutes with 1 gram of carbohydrate per kilo, so a 70 kilogram person will take 70 grams of carbohydrate.
Okay, Allie, this is
34-7. For who? Me, I'm so consistent. 34-1, 34-7.
When an athlete is doing high intensity exercise or a competition, they produce a lot of hydrogen ions, and that makes the muscles, that decreases the pH of the muscle. And so those hydrogen ions will leak out into the bloodstream or into the extracellular fluid, and so the body naturally has bicarbonate in it as a buffer. And so we're just hoping to boost the body's natural buffering capacity. She has 3.5 minutes.
Well, is that the actual time, or is that the time?
This is the
This
time
is
of
the
the
running
blood draw.
time.
This is the running time. So every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, most of the research has looked at taking the bicarbonate with it fasted, and most athletes don't fast before they do a competition. They usually eat, and so what we think will happen is when you have food, you're going to slow down how the bicarbonate is digested and absorbed into the bloodstream. And so we also know through other research that everybody seems to have an individual profile. So you'll peak at a different time than I would peak, than some of the other subjects would peak. And also the length of time that you'll be at that peak will be different. So you may stay at a peak for 50 minutes and another person might peak for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and then they would drop down. And so what the purpose of this study is to determine, first of all, do people peak the same way each time? And if they do peak the same way each time, then it's useful to look at individualizing an athlete's protocol so that we know that they should start taking their bicarb 60 minutes in front of the competition, or 90 minutes in front of the competition, or maybe even 250 minutes in front of the competition, because that's when they're going to peak.
Day 4, my blood has become too viscous for the...
So as soon as the 4 subjects from Victoria and the 4 subjects in Australia are completed, then we'll look at the data and decide if it's worth going to stage 2. And what would make that worth doing is if we see that each subject's variability over those 3 sessions is very minimal. And then it makes sense to take it to the athletes and have them trial it.